Hi, I'm Dustin, and I'm here to talk about our sway bar end-link disconnect system. And to do that, we're using a forklift. And to test our sway bar end-link system, we're going to test it on two Jeeps, our lifted diesel JT and a stock 392. Our sway bar links are CNC formed from high-quality 1020 CR solid steel. Greasable spherical bushings allow trouble-free connecting and disconnecting of the sway bar links. Our sway bar end links have been made to the maximum length possible so that they don't interfere with the inner fender at full suspension compression. Sealed tie rod ends provide a direct linkage to the sway bar. The sway bar links are E-coated for abrasion and corrosion resistance. Our sway bar end links will work on any Jeep JL or JT. If you're running a lift 3 inches or taller, you'll need front sway bar relocation brackets as well. As you can see, you can achieve more travel with our manual quick disconnect sway bar links than with an electronic sway bar disconnect. So some of the benefits of the Synergy sway bar links are they are longer than stock, which will accommodate lifts from 0 inches up to 4 inches. Another key benefit of these quick disconnect sway bar links that we have here is if you have a stock Wrangler, you're able to come in here, easily unpin the sway bar link and pin it up out of position, and that'll give you more articulation when you're ready to hit the trails. So if this is a product you've been interested in, follow along and I'll show you step by step on how to install these sway bar end links. All right, as part of our sway bar end link installation, you don't necessarily have to take off the tires. It makes it easier, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the tires just to have a little bit more room to work. So here we're raising the vehicle up to height. It's a lot easier to do the work on a lift, but also possible to do it on the ground. So step one in installation of our end links will be to remove the factory end links. We're going to need a 18mm socket and an 18mm box end wrench. First step will be to remove the bottom bolts of the links. That would be on the axle side. So moving over to the passenger side of the Jeep, we're still going to use the 18mm socket, although this side has a nut tab, so you won't need a box end wrench to back it up with. We're going to go ahead and remove the top of the sway bar end link. I found that using an 18mm ratchet style wrench makes the job easier. You're also going to need a 6mm Allen style wrench. So at this time we're going to identify which link goes where. You're going to want to orient the link to where the bend bends towards the tire. So this would be identified as a passenger side and a driver side. You also want to make sure they are the shortest length possible and making sure they are both the same length. So your end link is threaded for 2 grease fittings. You can either use your traditional style Zerk or your needle style Zerk or grease fitting. Either way, you want your style or your preference out towards the front so it's easier to grease, but either way, both fittings need to be installed in the end link. So at this point, you're going to have to make a decision. Are you going to use the stock hardware and leave this fixed on the Jeep, or are you going to make it a quick disconnect? This is our quick disconnect pin. It will not fit in the end link unless you pop out this bushing here. So if you do the quick disconnect option, go ahead and pop this bushing out and then this pin will work. We're going to go ahead and do the quick disconnect option and we will show you how to pop this out and install it. So to push the bushing out, I found it easiest to stick it on top of a vise and use a socket and gently tap the bushing out. In the case you're not doing the full sway bar disconnect kit, leave the OEM factory tab in place. Do not cut this off. If the end links are to be installed on a stock height Wrangler, no lift, then the passenger side, axle side tab must be removed. Using an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, cut off the tab along the axle. Be sure to wear gloves and the proper safety glasses. Once you've removed your outer tab, go ahead and deburr it and give it a little paint just to keep it from rusting. Now that we have our tab cut off, we're going to install our quick disconnect stud. This is going to go on the track bar bracket here on the axle. It's going to be facing out towards the tire. Generally when I put these in, I'll put the little hole here facing up and down. It just makes it easier for putting the pin in and locking it in place. So to install this stud here, we're going to need a 3/4 and a 9/16 box end wrench. The orientation of these studs will be driver's side pointing towards the center of the axle and the passenger side pointing towards the tire. Okay, this is going to be a universal part for the JT and JL. On the JL, we're going to be using this hole here. On the JT, you'll be using this hole here. This bottom hole stays universal. In this kit, there are a total of 4 studs. Here, I'm prepping the studs in the quick disconnect tabs. These will later be mounted on the frame. So we brought our upper disconnect tabs with the studs prepped over to the vise for proper torquing. Note that the nut will face the same side as the letter etching on the tab. So at this time, while you're torquing it, you may want to orient the hole for the pin. Preferably a 45-degree angle from the tab works best. That way you can stick your pin in and have it securely fastened. Next step in this installation will be installing the sway bar end link mounting brackets. And in order to do that, we're going to need to place the sway bar up here. We're going to make an outline around the inner fender well and trim that out. It is not necessary to cut the inner fender, but you will get a cleaner fit and finish if you do. At this time, we're going to prep the inner fender well for trimming. Go ahead and hold the tab up on the frame and align the holes. Take a Sharpie or other marker and mark around the tab. This will give you a good guideline for cutting. So using a reciprocating saw or cutoff wheel, go ahead and cut around your line. You may need to trim a little bit extra once you get it in there for fine tuning. I found a barrel sander helps clean up your sharp edges and clean up your cut. So we're going to be securing our tabs starting off on the driver's side using a 3/8 by 3.5 inch long bolt with washer and lock nut on the back. You'll also be using a 5/16 self-tapping screw. Using an impact driver, securely fasten the 5/16 self-tapping screw. Beware, don't over-tighten it. At this time, go ahead and secure your sway bar end link to the tab you just installed. This will help you orient the tab on the passenger side of the vehicle. Here, we've reclocked the pin to give you a more secure downward angle on the pin. So lastly, we are demonstrating here how the quick disconnect sway bar link actually works. With the easy removal of a pin, you can undo the sway bar end link and put it in the disconnected position. Alright, so we've gotten to the end of this video and you've followed along and you've seen step by step how we've installed these sway bar end links. Pretty easy. You've seen the benefits. Now, what do you do now? You want to see more videos? You want to tell us how cool this video was? Drop your comments down here, and thank you for watching.